Mike wants some more. What it
The
is.
God of Wars of summoning.
The atmosphere was electric as the crowd gathered for what promised to be an unforgettable showdown. Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation turned boxer, had finally met his match in the ring with none other than the legendary Iron Mike Tyson. Expectations were sky high as fans anticipated the clash between the brash internet star and the undefeated heavyweight icon. From the moment the bell rang, it was clear that this fight was not going to be a mere spectacle. Mike Tyson, renowned for his peekaboo style, immediately took control of the match. He bobbed and weaved with precision, effortlessly dodging Jake Paul's sloppy punches. Tyson's movements were a masterclass in boxing technique, showcasing the skill and experience that made him one of the greatest fighters of all time. In contrast, Paul seemed uncertain, his earlier confidence waning under Tyson's relentless pressure. As the rounds progressed, Tyson's dominance became increasingly apparent. He launched a barrage of attacks, his left and right hands connecting with devastating accuracy. Paul, unable to match Tyson's speed and power, found himself on the defensive. The crowd watched in awe as Tyson methodically dismantled his opponent, each punch reinforcing the vast difference in their skill levels. Midway through the first round, Tyson set a decisive trap. After several powerful body shots that weakened Paul's guard, Tyson delivered a brutal right hand that connected flush with Paul's jaw. The impact was immediate and devastating. Paul's legs gave out beneath him, and he crumpled to the canvas in a heap. The arena erupted in a mix of shock and awe as the referee quickly stepped in, waving off the fight without hesitation. Jake Paul was out cold, and the match was over. The aftermath of the knockout was a stark contrast between the two fighters. Tyson stood calm and composed over his fallen opponent, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. At 58 years old, he had proven that his power and skill were still very much intact. This victory was not just a personal triumph for Tyson, but a statement to the world that true greatness in boxing transcends age and time. For Jake Paul, the defeat was a humbling experience, exposing the limits of his abilities and the dangers of underestimating a seasoned veteran like Tyson. Leading up to the fight, the build-up was filled with anticipation and tension. Jake Paul had made a name for himself by taking on a string of carefully selected opponents, often older and past their primes. His brash demeanor and relentless self-promotion had won him legions of fans, but also made him one of the most polarizing figures in boxing. Many within the boxing community viewed him as someone making a mockery of the sport by cherry-picking opponents to build his record. In contrast, Mike Tyson carried the weight of a storied legacy. Even at 58, Tyson was far from a washed-up former athlete. He had once ruled the heavyweight division with an iron fist, knocking out opponents with a ferocity that few could match. Despite his age, Tyson was in remarkable shape, armed with the wealth of experience and knowledge that only a lifetime in the sport could provide. The fight was seen as a moment of reckoning, an opportunity for Tyson to demonstrate that boxing's true greats still stood head and shoulders above the new wave of celebrity fighters. As the fight night approached, the atmosphere was charged with excitement. The arena was packed with fans eager to witness the spectacle. The contrast between the two fighters was striking. Paul, the young, brash internet star, versus Tyson, the seasoned veteran and former undisputed heavyweight champion. The stakes were high not just for Paul, but for the sport itself. Many saw this fight as a litmus test for the future of boxing, questioning whether celebrity matches could coexist with the sport's traditional values. When the bell rang, signaling the start of the fight, Tyson and Paul circled each other cautiously. It quickly became evident that Paul was in over his head. Tyson's movements were measured and purposeful, each step calculated and intentional. Paul, struggling to keep up, tried to maintain distance with his jab, but Tyson's defense was rock solid. His head movement made it nearly impossible for Paul to land anything meaningful. Tyson's strategy was clear: exploit Paul's weaknesses with precision and power. Each time Paul threw a punch, Tyson either slipped it or countered with a devastating blow to the body. The skill and experience gap between them was glaringly obvious, and the crowd soon realized that Paul was in serious trouble. Sensing his opponent's weakening resolve, Tyson intensified his assault, each punch landing with the authority that had defined his career. As the fight wore on, Paul's face showed the toll of Tyson's relentless attacks. He was quickly running out of options, his earlier bravado giving way to desperation. Tyson's punches took their toll, and Paul's defenses began to falter. Midway through the first round, after several powerful body shots, Tyson delivered the knockout blow. The right hand connected perfectly, sending Paul crashing to the canvas. The referee stepped in immediately, declaring Tyson the winner without a need for a count. Mike Tyson had decisively knocked out Jake Paul. In the aftermath, Tyson remained calm and composed, standing over his defeated opponent with a look of quiet satisfaction. He had entered the fight with something to prove, and he had done so in the most emphatic manner imaginable. Even at 58, Tyson had demonstrated that his power and skill were still formidable. This victory was a triumph not only for Tyson, but for the sport of boxing as a whole, reaffirming the importance of skill, power, and respect in the ring. Jake Paul, on the other hand, was left humbled and defeated. The arrogance and confidence that had characterized his rise in the sport were nowhere to be seen as he was helped to his corner. This was a harsh lesson for Paul, exposing the limits of his abilities and the dangers of underestimating a true boxing legend. In the weeks leading up to the fight, Paul had dismissed Tyson as just another name on his hit list, but in the ring, all that talk had counted for nothing. Tyson had systematically dismantled Paul, highlighting the gap between a YouTube sensation and a true boxing great. The fight also sparked a broader conversation about the state of boxing in the modern era. While celebrity boxing matches have undeniably brought new audiences to the sport, Tyson's knockout of Paul served as a reminder that there is a level of respect and seriousness that must be maintained. Boxing is not just about entertainment, it is a demanding and unforgiving sport that requires skill, dedication, and, above all, respect for one's opponents. In the end, the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul will be remembered as a defining moment in both of their careers. For Tyson, it was another chapter in his legendary legacy, a moment that reaffirmed his status as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. For Paul, it was a humbling experience that exposed the limits of his abilities and underscored the dangers of underestimating a true boxing legend. The image of Paul lying unconscious on the canvas, knocked out cold by a man nearly twice his age, will endure as a symbol of the night, a reminder that in boxing, as in life, there are no shortcuts to greatness. Tyson's performance was hailed as a masterclass in the art of boxing, a display of power, precision, and experience that few could have predicted. His victory was celebrated by purists who believe that the sport should prioritize skill and respect over mere entertainment and spectacle. Meanwhile, Paul's loss was a sobering reminder of the importance of humility and preparation in the ring. He had entered the fight believing he could stand toe-to-toe with a legend, but Tyson had shown him and the world just how vast the gap truly was between a YouTube sensation and a true boxing great. As the dust settled, the fight was being talked about as one of the most significant moments in recent boxing history. Tyson's knockout of Paul was not just a personal victory, it was a powerful reminder of what true boxing excellence looks like. It was a victory for the purists, for those who believe that boxing should be about more than just entertainment. Tyson had shown that even in his late 50s, he remained a force to be reckoned with, a man capable of humbling even the most confident opponents with a single punch. The broader implications of the fight extended beyond the ring. It ignited discussions about the future of boxing, the role of celebrity matches, and the balance between entertainment and athletic integrity. While celebrity fights bring in new audiences and generate significant buzz, Tyson's decisive victory underscored the importance of maintaining the sport's core values. Boxing is a demanding and unforgiving sport that rewards skill, dedication, and respect, and Tyson's performance was a testament to these enduring principles. In conclusion, the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul will be remembered as a defining moment for both fighters and for boxing itself. Tyson's triumph reaffirmed his legacy as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, demonstrating that true boxing greatness does not fade with age. For Jake Paul, the defeat was a humbling experience that highlighted the dangers of overconfidence and the importance of respecting one's opponents. The night will be remembered not just for the knockout, but for the powerful message it sent about the enduring values of boxing. As fans and observers reflect on the fight, it stands as a poignant reminder that in boxing, as in life, there are no shortcuts to greatness.